the professor, Jason Jones of The Athletic. You think Luke Walton, of course, hired by the Cleveland Cavaliers staff, you think he gets another shot as a head coach in the NBA?
It wouldn't shock me down the road.
Mm.
I mean, how many jobs has Alvin had? I mean, I think Luke is still relatively young. And you look at his first 2 stops as a head coach, you could say, he went to the post, Dr. Buss, Jim Buck, whatever mess of a Lakers. And then he was coaching the Kings. And I don't think anyone who coaches the Kings gets that held against them, really.
Mm.
So it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, he's smart, like I say, he's still pretty young. It's not like Luke is 60 something years old. And he's going to a good situation. He's good friends with JB. They go back a while. So you get all that, they get some success. His name's going to come up again. And a lot of times I think, especially in coaching, you learn from your first, maybe what missteps you might have had and whatnot. So it wouldn't shock me to see him get another chance. I mean, it wasn't like he was I was going to say it was like he coached the Warriors. Well, he did coach the Warriors for a little bit, but it wasn't like he was in 2 model situations and just and it just didn't work. I mean, who has it worked for in Sacramento? And even with that, he still has a better winning percentage than everyone except Rick Adelman in Sacramento, which is
That's
crazy.
It's nuts. The other thing about that, Jason, is I think people some people get caught up in the fact of, they didn't think Luke was a good coach or whatever the case may be. And you may be able to speak to a little bit more, but I feel like around the league, he's well liked, and I think his basketball mind is respected. I don't think around the league people look at Luke the way, maybe some Kings fans look at him around here.
Yeah, clearly they don't, because he's, like I said, if there was a spot on Steve Kerr's staff, I think Steve would welcome him back. Obviously JB wanted him. I think he's a guy, like you said, respected. I don't know a person I've talked to who doesn't like Luke. So, I mean, that goes a long way. I mean, if Dave Yeager worked well with others, he'd probably still be the Kings coach right now. So that ability to work with people goes a long way. And like I said, I think it's kind of like if you're coaching the Raiders under Al Davis, coaching the Kings, you kind of get a quasi mulligan, because it's like, well, it doesn't work for anybody.
Are you excited about you're a Lakers fan? Lakers named their head coach over the weekend. Darvin Ham is the guy. Like, what does that mean for the Lakers moving forward?
I liked it. I liked that they didn't go kind of the not that I think Terry Stotts is a bad coach or Kenny Atkinson. I thought Kenny Atkinson presented some unique possibilities in his success with working with guards, especially assuming that Russ is going to be back. I've never been a believer that Russ was definitely gone anyway. But I think if you bring in a guy, Darvin's, he's been around stars, and there's a skill to coaching stars. He was with the Lakers at his start with Powell and Kobe. Then he's had Giannis. He's understands that dynamic in the locker room, and because he also played, and he was a role player in the league. He wasn't a star, but he was a tough guy too.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't mess with Darvin Ham back in the day on the court. He was a physical, tough guy. I like the idea of him bringing that attitude to that locker room. I like that he's, like I said, that it's not a guy we've seen before. The last time LeBron won a title with a guy who we had never seen coaching, Tyronn Lue, a former player, a role player. People kind of said, oh, he's LeBron's puppet. But it's a personality thing. I think Tyronn Lue's personality was going to challenge LeBron, and I think Darvin Ham will challenge LeBron, AD, and whoever else they scrap together, with their minimum deals and whatnot. And I'm excited to kind of see what Darvin can do with that.
So, like Damian brought up the question earlier, seems like they're just going to run this thing back, huh? They're just Russ coming back and just running it back, huh?
I don't know if they have much of a choice. I mean,
I think I can answer that for you. They don't.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? Russ has a big contract. You're not going to make a deal where you attach a first round pick to him because he comes off your books next year. And I also am of the belief that I thought Russ got an unfair amount of blame for the Lakers.
Come on, man.
I mean, who amongst us would have ever put Russell Westbrook on the wing to be a spot-up shooter? That's not Russ's fault.
Yeah.
Who put Carmelo Anthony at center? I mean, there were a lot of things going on in LA that weren't Russell Westbrook's fault. And I mean,
Jason, come on, man.
And for as bad as the season is, he's like 18-8-8. I mean, yeah, he had turnovers. Russ has always had turnovers. But I couldn't be mad at Russ for missing wing threes when I'm like, why are you putting him there? Like, of course he looks terrible in that situation. I mean, and Russ had bad moments. There was times on defense where he just looked like he had no clue or either no clue or no desire to play it. But that whole team was terrible on defense. So I think if you get a coach in there who can kind of, because Russ even spoke to at the end of the last season, we kind of said early on, it just felt like him and Frank weren't vibing. And I think, I know it's fashionable to say, well, the Lakers ruined it, and which they messed up a lot. But I think people acted like Frank was perfect in that situation, and that Frank was absolved because the front office was so crazy. Frank was absolved of all blame, which wasn't right either. I mean, Frank had his share in blame in that too, along with the injuries. It wasn't just Russ. I've never seen a guy average 18-8-8 basically and get treated like he was Smush.
Oh, shots at Smush Parker.
They made out there like the little kid in that Atlanta episode. Yes. And
it's Dad and Tobago, my man, speaking the truth right there. My man speaking the truth. I had a theory that I'll present to you, and I recognize that it's absurd. I have multiple theories regarding Russell Westbrook, and I recognize they're probably both ridiculous, one more than the other. And this could completely change if Russ is completely bought into Darvin Ham, which I get the impression maybe he will be. We've never seen an athlete walk away from a $47 million single year contract.
No.
But Russ strikes me as a guy who'd be like, screw you guys. Russ has made $288 million in his playing career. That doesn't account for everything else that he's done. Any chance at all, he says, screw you. Y'all said it was my fault. Go ahead. Go do it without me, and leaves.
I say 0% because he's not going to get $47 million total. He's not going to get like a 3-year $47 million deal if he leaves. And he's still back home. I mean, there's still enough, I think, things around that situation where he's back home. Even though I know that drove Laker fans crazy. They saw that interview where he was like, yeah, I'm not playing well, but you know what? I can see my kids after games. They ain't want to hear that. Fans are ruthless. They don't care about you and your family life. They don't care about your peace of mind and your mental health. They're like, no, we want to win games. But I can't see any world where he says $47 million. No, if he does that, there must be $100 million out there somewhere for him. Who would do that? I have no idea.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, we're gonna go with the other statement. We're gonna.
Yeah, right. Say it like I'm scared to say it to Jason. Russell Westbrook is averaging a triple-double next year.
That would not shock me.
It ain't happening.
He damn near averaged one this year.
Guy who's ever appeared on this show. I just want to point that out. That's why he's the professor. That's why he's at Berkeley, is because of stuff like this.
It wouldn't shock. I mean, he wasn't that far off this year.
Well, I'll tell you this. I would like for it to happen for Russ. I like Russ. Russ is my guy. But at what expense
Russ
would he be averaging that triple-double?
Here's the thing. The whole theory of bringing Russ in was to let him carry the load and do a lot of the playmaking to take the load off of LeBron. Things went haywire. Obviously, guys got hurt, and then it became, hey, LeBron, go save us. And Russ, you stand in the corner, which, like I said, I will never get over the fact that they tried to turn Russell Westbrook into Duncan Robinson. That was like
in the Buddy Hield, because that's all. That's all that happened here in Sacramento.
We don't need Buddy to shoot. We got Russ in the corner. I mean, that was just. I mean, I'm watching the teams defend them, and you've got 5-on-4 because the team is like, if you really want to give the ball to Russ over there, okay, we dare you.
Yeah.
So I really am anxious to kind of see what they do, who Darvin brings on the staff. one of the missed opportunities the Lakers had was partly due to finances, was that they could have hired Scott Brooks as an assistant, someone who had been with Russ in 2 locations, and probably could have, bridged the gap between Russ and Vogel. But the Lakers, for all their fame and glory, they're really teams trying to save money when they can. And to me, that was one of those, we're going to save some money, along with, say, letting Caruso walk, that cost you in the end, and you lost anyway.
22, 11, and 11, just 2 seasons ago.
I mean, look, Russ is my boy. Russ is my boy. I hope it happens. I do. I hope it happens. But like I said, Buddy Hield feels Russ' pain when he said, all they didn't let me cook. They just had me stuck in the corner. That's all I could ever do.
I don't mind Buddy being in the corner. That's a good spot for him. He can hit that shot.
We got the 2 best teams in the NBA in the finals.
I think so. Now, when it's all said and done, I mean, Miami gave it everything, they had, but their lack of a secondary perimeter scorer really showed in games. That really came up for them. I mean, relying on, OG Kyle Lowry to make it happen. You could almost wonder
that line. They gave it everything they had. No, you literally mean they gave everything they had. They had nothing left.
Yeah, they had, I think for them, it's that lack of a secondary scorer out there in the perimeter really showed, you can't win a game 7 with your backcourt. You're going with Max Strus and Kyle Lowry. And it's like, and Kyle, this isn't young. Kyle was never like a spry, bouncy, go dunk on your guy anyway. And then you're talking about a Kyle with come off a hamstring issue. I mean, and they, and they were an open 3 away from pulling that thing off still.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people got mad at Jimmy for taking that shot, but I mean, you've got 3 guys in the paint, basically, or you would have had 3 guys in the paint. He had a wide open look. I mean, he hits that. I mean, I wasn't upset with Jimmy on that one. I mean, do you want him to drive into Al Horford? I mean, could he have gotten to the line of score? Maybe, but it wasn't a terrible look.
No, it was good.
It was a good look. He just didn't make it. And sometimes in basketball, you just don't make it. But I think when you look at it now, 2 best teams. I still say Phoenix ruined it for everyone, because I thought Phoenix was the best team I'd seen all year. But I mean, of who's left, you got the 2 best teams.
Yeah, Max Strus was out there. I tweeted it during the game, out there thinking he's Sonic's Ray Allen with some of the shots he was taking. It's like, settle down. Like,
he made a big one. He made a huge one.
He made a huge one. Yeah.
The problem they got is they paid Duncan Robinson to make all those shots, and he couldn't get off the bench.
Does he, because we talked about, we're always, rummaging through, the goodwill bag that, everybody has when they get eliminated from the playoffs here as Kings fans. And we were looking at Duncan Robinson, like he'd be great, but I don't know if I could justify it with that price tag. He's making, what was it, like 18, 19 over the next 3 years? Like, it's a lot.
I'd rather pay Buddy that money. And not be locked in for another 3-4 years of Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
I think he has to be in a situation where you can cover for him defensively. He's just catch and shoot. I mean, if he played with a guy like LeBron or a guy, put him in a situation where you could make his role very specific, I like him as a shooter. It's just that sometimes, especially, I mean, if you're not shooting well, it's like, what does Duncan Robinson do if he's not shooting well? I really don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Apparently, Eric Colton sits him.
He hangs out with Haslam. That's what he does. When he's not shooting well.
Well, them Haslam memes after the game were cold.
Oh man! But they won't say it to you. They won't say it to his face. I dare you to take that meme and be like, "Hey, Udonis. Hey, here's what I think about you."
Yeah, Tommy FAMU one time.
They showed a video of him walking to the locker room with that just exhausted look, and someone said, "Why does Udonis Haslam look like he just gave it all?"
Yeah, that was so wrong. That was so wrong.
It was.
It was like he played his heart out today. I'm like, y'all better stop. Y'all better leave that man alone. Yeah. He'll do more than Tommy Pham. He'll Charles Oakley you.
There it is. There it is. Even if you're wearing a Heat jersey, he will. I think we learned that earlier.
Oh yeah.
We learned that earlier this year. Do you have a early favorite?
Kind of. I go back and forth. Part of me says the Warriors, just because I think you got Steph. If Clay is Game 5, Clay. If you can get a consistent Clay, which to me is the big key to the series for them, is you got to get a consistent Clay, and that's one of the knocks on Clay's career is that in the postseason we get these long stretches of where is Clay. Then here comes Game 6 Clay. Then we got to go through 3 or 4 games of where is Clay. Yeah. So I think if you can get consistent Clay, I like them. But I mean, that Tatum Brown tandem is a monster. No. And and coming off of 2 major injuries, I don't know if Clay is the All NBA defender Clay.
Right.
So I mean and then you got the Marcus Smart. We're going to have probably 2 of the more annoying players in the league. And this between Marcus and Draymond.
Oh, Marcus isn't annoying.
Well, calm down. Marcus gets the flopping. Yeah, Marcus get wild.
And Marcus Smart is never going to foul anybody. And this is going to be, we're going to see some theatrics in this. And Al Horford, who's been in the league since like '88, finally in the finals. I mean, it's going to be interesting, and it's weird for me because as a born and raised Laker fan, I am trained and it's in my DNA to hate the Celtics. But I know Ime and I like Ime. And Jaylen Brown is a Cal guy. I 9 times out of 10 never root against Cal guys. I'm like, I wish they would have traded Jaylen to a respectable franchise before the season.
Well, very respectable. Just get you a little Shamrock, T-shirt, and you'd be good to go.
No,
too far.
No, but here's my dilemma living in Northern California.
Yeah,
if the Warriors win, that means Giant and Niner fan is happy.
Ooh,
and nothing is more annoying in Northern California than those 2 fan bases being happy.
Well, not all of them. I wouldn't be happy.
The Warrior fans are where they all converge.
No.
They converge. They meet at Chase Center to just annoy me.
Is this true?
No, this is not true. Like I said, I wouldn't be happy you said living in the Bay Area. So there's
living in the Bay. You know how many of my Warrior friends are telling me, "Come on, Jay, it's okay, you can roll." I'm like, just don't stop trying to recruit me. No, and I like the Warrior. I like a lot of people over there. I mean, I don't have any enemies in this. Hey, Cedric Maxwell is my frat brother. I like Cedric, with Boston, but I'm like, maybe we could just cancel the finals and just go to next season, and then we just have no champion.
Oh, I'd be all right with that too.
I'd be fine with Boston not getting number 18. I could sleep well with that.
I'd be fine with that. And I'm not. I don't like the Boston Celtics whatsoever. I don't like them. Never have.
You just like Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum is
Jaylen Brown.
Those chips are fire from Jason. That's my favorite thing about Jason Tatum is those chips. and I like the gall of Jason Tatum to wear the Kobe colored armband while wearing his. So I was like,
he don't care.
Oh, wow, he's really trying to pull at our hearts with this in LA.
Man, he ain't tripping about that at all. So one thing that me and Damian were talking about earlier in the show was, if Boston wins, this could set something off for them, right? Like where they like, this is the first one that we get because they're that good. And that's a great point. That could be the case. But I also looked at it as for the first time in a while, the super team thing seems to be going away a little bit. And there's just a ton of competition in the league. And I couldn't think of a time where, let's just say, either one, it doesn't matter who wins the championship this year. Then we go for our 2 early predictions about who's going to win next year. You might get like 7 different answers. When has that ever been the case in the NBA? I don't want to call it parity. I just think it's a strong league right now with a lot of good teams who can make the argument to win an NBA championship moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that especially the way the East has gotten so much better. For years, it was okay. The real championship is the Western Conference Finals, and we'll just kind of see, or maybe the reasoning was that the East was maybe top heavy, and then you get down to past number 4. There's a bunch of teams you don't care about. It's not like that. I mean, I could just looking ahead, I could in the West, you could say Golden State, you could say Phoenix, you could say Dallas. Depending on who they get, how they come back.
Clippers might come back.
The Clippers might get Kawhi Leonard back one day. As long as the Lakers have LeBron and AD, and if those two are like healthy, they're going to be a factor. I mean, Denver has Joker, and maybe they'll get Porter and Murray back. So
Memphis,
there's a lot of
Memphis might be in there.
Yeah, I forgot about Memphis. I mean, there's a lot going on. You go back east.
The Kings.
LA Kings? Yeah, they were in the playoffs this year. Yeah.
Cold
Yeah.
world. I think the Celtics have to change their parent company when they win championships. Like when you get a check from the Boston Celtics, it says like Banner 17 LLC. So if they win, don't they have to register for the trademark of Banner 18 and be Banner 18 LLC?
You would think so, unless the Lakers are being petty and they got it already.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, did the Lakers see that and go grab Banner 18, 19, 20, 21?
Make them change it to something else. Yeah, I mean, this should be a good series. This should be a good series. I mean, it should be entertaining.
Are you following the draft stuff at all? Like, are you watching workout videos and the response to Jaden Ivey's pro day and everyone's reaction to all that?
I have zero interest in pro days. I have zero interest in guys working out against their trainer. And I don't care. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I can't be, I know there are times where the Kings were like, hey, you want to come watch the end of the workout? I'm like, okay. Like we saw part of Bagley's workout. He's going to, you got guys like Bobby out there working with him. And, maybe you have a guy like Doug, but it's like, dude played a bunch of games in college. I'd rather watch that than watch a workout that's not real basketball, it's the workout. So I don't get, because there's guys who could, it's not the same like we're in football where workout wonders like, catch your eye the same way. But, I'm just whatever, I just don't care much for them. Because, I mean, to me, they're designed to make you look good. If you look really bad in your workout, you just may not be a good player. I mean, the workout is designed for you to look good. I mean, you can practice the workout.
Dude, I'm sure like there's NBA front office execs who feel the same way as you do. What do you think they get out of that, out of watching those things? I mean, is it just due diligence, or is there something that maybe, Jerry West or somebody can see when they see a guy in those settings that they can get out of that?
I mean, there's things they can get from it. I mean, a lot of times for them, it's about seeing especially if you're the times you can host a guy, it's seeing how they run your drills. It's seeing how they accept coaching. It's seeing sometimes, these guys, they physically they'll kind of, smudge the numbers. A 6'7" guy will be listed at 6'9.5". You can get the guy in person and see those type of things, and just you look at some of the kind of like the famous workouts, like the Kobe workout for the Lakers, where they're just like, we've never seen a guy dominate like this in a workout. They're like, he's going against Michael Cooper, who wasn't that far removed from an NBA career, and he's giving it to Coop. So they're like, so you can gain some things from it, but to me, it's only one part of it. For the teams, a big part is when they can get a guy in their building and talk to him and get to know him. And some teams will tell you, you may go to a guy's workout who you can't draft. Like the Kings aren't going to be able to draft Jabari Smith unless they trade up. But if you go there and you can like meet him, that's intel sometimes for 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years down the road, where at least you've developed a rapport. So there's definitely advantages outside of the court stuff that teams take from that. I just think I'll never understand a regular person like, in the public or even media folks who like will sit down and like watch a combine or watch a workout like, oh, wow. I'm like, this is boring. Like
Jason just destroying all of us, just ending all of us in one fell swoop. All of the Jaden Ivey hype from all just gone. They just murdered us. Damn thing. There's probably something to be said too for communicating with agents, right? Like Jay Knox's pro day was a CAA pro day. Like that's a big deal for Monty McNair and Vivek Ranadive.
Yeah, and a lot of that is it's always an opportunity to present like where your franchise is to those people.
Yeah,
because you may not be able to draft a CAA guy, but they may have a CAA guy who's a free agent.
Yep.
And there's a chance to just get in front of them and just talk to them. That stuff, that's constant. That has to keep going. You have to continue to kind of, and that was one of the arguments sometimes someone presented to me as to why, no matter, even if you like a coaching candidate, you got to interview a bunch of people. It's a chance to continually pitch what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you should take advantage of that. It's almost time for them to practice pitching it.
Mm. Yeah, the game within the game.
Yeah, it's always something, It's always something.
So
or if you're the Lakers, you pitch the joke was you pitch it to Rich Paul and then he gets it over to them. It's not fair to Rich. I like Rich, but that was the joke. You just pitch it to Rich, he'll make sure Rob and those guys get the memo.
Don't be mad that Rich is good at his job. That ain't.
I'm not mad. I'm one of the weird people. I'm not mad at Rich. If anybody should be mad, it should be Rob that free agents are calling Magic and not him.
Oh man! Damn.
Hey Magic, I want to come play for the Lakers. Magic was like, hold up a second. Hey,
brother, we got you. We'll get you in here.
Yeah. Hey, it's been a week, Jason. Do you want to, run back that statement you made at the end of the last time we talked to you? You said Kendrick is the GOAT.
I'm not changing.
Why would he change that? What happened in the last week that would change that?
I'm not changing.
He's not the GOAT. He may be on pace to being that. It's not the GOAT today.
Okay. Well, he's in the conversation. Does that make you feel better?
Sure. I like Kendrick. I mean, I love Kendrick. Love the album too. It's phenomenal. All his albums have been phenomenal, but he's not the GOAT. What's the difference to both of you guys between Kendrick and J. Cole? I don't feel like there's much difference.
Kendrick is more. I think Kendrick has more of a personality to the way that he raps. I don't think J. Cole does. I don't think J. Cole's bad. I just think at all J. Cole isn't bad at all. He's a storyteller. He's a socially conscious rapper too. I just don't think he doesn't have a bag to dip into. Like
Kendrick, Kendrick takes us places that we didn't know we were going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, he can tell, J. Cole to me, J. Cole can just spit it with anybody.
Right.
But, and I think Kendrick can do that. They can both tell stories, but I mean, just look at this last album. There's things on there that Kendrick is doing that We Cry Together.
Oh my God.
I don't know how he came up with that. But
it's such a great song, and I don't know what to do with it. Like I was listening to it one day, and the windows were open, and I was like, "Do I need to turn this down? Like I can't turn it up. Like I don't know what to do with this song."
I was playing that, picking up my kid from second grade. I was like, I probably should turn this off.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I probably should turn this off. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, Kendrick does things where that song Duckworth. I mean, where I was like, where in your brain do you come up with this whole story about your dad and Top, and all these stories,
It's crazy.
There's levels to it. I mean, and there's great, and there's just greater than great. And Kendrick can tell a story in a way that most people can't. I mean that like songs like Duckworth, that's like Jay-Z Meet the Parents. Where you're just like, it's like a movie. Like Kendrick gives you movies and songs.
No, I agree. I was just asking because I was listening to Cole the other, and that's a good point because he was on somebody's song, and I was like, geez, Cole just rhyme like nothing else. Like this dude is sick, but there's another element that maybe is just missing just a little bit. He gets there every now and then, but not as consistently maybe as Kendrick.
Yeah.
Have you dove into It Was All a Dream, Justin Tinsley's book?
Not yet, no.
Oh, it's good. Like I'm probably about halfway through it, and he does a great job of making sure that like Diddy's ascent is worked in and Andre Harrell's ascent is worked in, how that all ties to big. Like It's better than unbelievable. Like it's a really good book so far.
Okay, I'm definitely going to check it out because I'm big on the history and I'm all in the stories of how they get to where they are. And if you ever, I was in Brooklyn the Kings played in Brooklyn one season where it was the anniversary of Biggie's death. And it was just like a whole different vibe out there. The way they love Big in Brooklyn is like, it's like Mac Dre and Vallejo. Vallejo. It's almost like I can't even describe it. Just the way they love Big.
Brooklyn is the livest place in New York City.
Oh, I love Brooklyn.
Yeah.
If I was going to live anywhere outside of California, I'd want to live in Brooklyn. Can't afford it, but hey.
Right. The thing about Big in Brooklyn is, like, it feels like it gets passed down, and it will get passed down. Like, you're from Brooklyn, you need to know who Biggie is.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're 6 years old and he's been dead 20 years before. You need to know who Biggie is. You need to listen to Ready to Die.
They love Big so much. There's people out there who will still tell you there'd be no Jay-Z if Big was alive.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, no, I think some of that's just irrational Jay-Z hate. But it wasn't like Jay-Z had no talent before Big died. But it's like I said, it's something. Just to kind of just see the way they love him to this day. And I don't think, who's been the biggest Brooklyn rapper since? I'm blanking.
Technically it's Jay, but
But I kind of consider them peers.
Yeah, same time.
Yeah, I consider them. I'm blanking right now, but no one's really captured New York.
Fab.
No
Fab
one's
is big, but he's not
big.
big. He's not big, but
yeah. But since Big and Jay, there hasn't been a rapper out of New York where you go, he's the best one right now doing it.
Well, so much of the
50
music
had it for a second.
Who?
50 had it for a second.
Oh yeah, 50. But he's from Queens, and and they, but 50 50 would be the last big time. But even then, I think people don't look at 50 as a lyricist.
Right.
Yeah. So much of the music industry changed after they died. Like CDs stuck around for a little while longer, but then it became like downloads, illegal downloads.
Yeah.
Then they were like, yo, forget illegal downloads. Let's make legal downloads. Then everything. Now you go to like radio stations. If we ever actually work inside a radio station again, you go into like Big Mike's office at KSFM, you'll see a plaque for Cardi B, and it doesn't say 10 million records sold anymore. It says 50 million downloads or 100 million downloads. Like, it's all about the number that's downloaded, and it's normally a song more than it is an album. Like, the whole music industry is different.
Yeah, I wonder how guys like Big and Pac would have. I went down to a show last weekend, the Back on Death Row tour, and I was just Snoop, Eastsiders, Dog Pound, all of them, and I'm thinking, wow, rappers are really 50-something years old going on tour, and I wondered what would Big have been like as an older man on tour,
Yeah.
What would I think Pac would have been in Hollywood. He would have been an
Pac
actor.
would have been in Are We There Yet 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, Pac would have been acting. Pac would have tried to run for like mayor of Marin City or something.
Right.
Pac would have been all over the place. But I just kind of, it's like I wonder where would because to me the argument against Big being the GOAT is that Big didn't get a chance to have longevity.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference between your first album being really good and album number 6, which makes Jay so impressive, that there's such a wide gap from Reasonable Doubt to 444.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say he's making good, like my kids know who Jay-Z is.
Right.
They don't, like, my kids know Snoop as the guy from commercials. They don't really know him as the rapper.
Yeah.
I named my son Kendrick, so he knows who Kendrick Lamar is, and then after Kendrick Lamar. So my son knows he's named after Kendrick Lamar, and he told me he wants to battle rap Kendrick one day.
Let's go.
He's 8. He says he wants to meet Kendrick Lamar because he figures with my job I get to meet everyone.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So he figures one day you're going to meet Kendrick Lamar, and when you do, I'm going to battle him.
And we're going to be there for it. That's Jason Jones of The Athletic. We appreciate